Okay, so imagine if an SNL skit idea was made into a feature film and kind of stumbled its way accidentally into being an all-time Christmas classic along the way.
I got it. Will Ferrell.
Okay, people, Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh my God!
I know him.
Elf.
What is even left to say about this? They found yet another way to show off New York City constantly for the entirety of a film's runtime. They found a way somehow to translate Will Ferrell's brand of nonsense comedy into being lovable instead of just dumb. And they managed to say this 30-year-old man is this naive because he was raised at the North Pole among elves making toys constantly, and yet was never told about humans or how they work or how their world works at all. There's something shady going on there. Elf stars Will Ferrell as Buddy the Elf. You know, there's something to be said about the horrors of elf rights that he has become the most famous elf in history, and he specifically, the point of the film is that he's not an elf. Yeah. Anyway, this is a film about an old elf who really wants to raise a child so badly he's willing to sacrifice this child's future because this guy is not okay. He was clearly not, suited to raising a human child. And anyway, so Buddy was raised as a human among elves at the North Pole, and then when they find out that he's kind of shit at elf things because he's a human, so he's just not as good at slave labor. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. They just send him off. They just pack him up one day and send him off. They stole this, well, not stole, but they kept, after finding out about the mistake that he'd accidentally gone into the sack, they just kept this child for 30 years, and then they just went, ugh, we're kind of sick of this guy. Ship him off. Knowing there was equal chance that he would, die on the side of the street as actually find his way and be okay, but that's whatever. So they tell him to go to New York City to find his dad, who is a publishing executive who's on the naughty list and who hates Christmas and Buddy. They really didn't give him much of a chance of anything, did they? Anyway, and then Buddy tries to continually spread Christmas joy in the way that every Will Ferrell character does everything. Well-meaning incompetence. I absolutely do have to admit that this film works on the same form of charm that Paddington does. Though this is not as good, need to make that real clear. It works because the protagonist, he charms and disarms, he brings joy in every situation by being such a fun and lovable, naive little guy, that he just makes the best out of everything and nobody can really hate him. It works like that, and it gets remembered far better than it deserves, honestly, because it's A, Christmas film, which just excuses all manner of ills, and B, it's got good humor for kids and good enough humor for adults that they don't, you don't start to turn on it as you get older. That's a kind of key component for any film like this, and that's basically what you get, and that's why it gets away with, just being one of the most iconic, for some reason, Christmas films. It's not really, that good, but... Oh, also Zooey Deschanel is perfect. This is a film I have an odd relationship with, as you can probably tell. I think the overabundance and reliance on naivete is tricky. Those elves are frankly monsters for keeping him in grunt-level servitude and then just tossing him out when they decided they didn't like him anymore. That is... Wow, yeah. Literally stole him from his people, kept him for decades, and then went... Oh, this guy, and threw him out. We never really get back to visit, any of those elves or them go, oh, buddy, you saved the day, you're wonderful after all, or anything like that. It's just left on that note that they're oh, fucking buddy. That's really fucked up. Doesn't matter. So, yes, it's a very fun film. It's got lots of fun, memorable moments and elements, decorating the tree, the... food group thing, that's just messed up. And the dance in the smoky mailroom and stuff like that. It's not actually incredibly iconic in most ways. It's got a few memorable lines, moments, scenes, things, but it's not actually that incredible or anything. It's just nice enough across the board that you won't complain about it until you've been made to watch it 10 times. But everybody has at this point. Zooey Deschanel leading the crowd in song. She's the only woman, by the way, that could have played this role convincingly. You're telling me she accepts going to visit her in-laws in the North Pole? Whatever. Them treating the New York City park rangers like ringwraiths was really funny. I mean, the whole thing is just a quirky, silly little situation that just works out, and it does only have the kind of lasting power of a 5-minute SNL skit, but somehow they just stretch it, and actually as a 90-minute whatever film, it's just fine, isn't it? Just try not to think too much about the fact that the entire story of this film is essentially what if Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was a dude. Don't think about it too hard. No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and frankly, we've got to appreciate that how many Christmas films from the 2000s are actually, like, even reasonable, like, reasonably good or memorable. It's Love Actually, Elf, Jim Carrey's Grinch. That's the list. If you say the words Polar Express in the comments, I will fuck you up. Doesn't matter. So, you've got to give it credit for that. It is definitely not the best Christmas film of all time, but it is, for better or worse, somehow one of the most iconic. So, I'm giving the least Zooey Deschanel could possibly look like Zooey Deschanel 3.5 stars. Fuck the Polar Express, man. That is an awful film. I don't want to hear any of that shite. And most of the rest of the naughties is just trash. I mean, we think about, oh god, the 2020s don't have many good iconic Christmas films, do they? But the naughties, man, they fucked up.